They were just being rude and ugly because the person had a different lifestyle. And normally I snap back at the people, but I didn't. I just blocked that person because on our channel, like, we want people of all cultures, races,
Wherever you at.
whatever you are, however you live your life, as long as you're respectful and loving. Well, you don't have to be loving, but as long as you're respectful to us and others, we want you to be a part of our community. I had to block that person because although you may not agree with someone's lifestyle, that don't mean that you have to be ugly towards that person.
What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchet REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video, guys. If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 100K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you. In this one, we're going to talk about 5 things I hate about America. Now, hate is a very strong word, but I got to say I hate these 5 things. Now, no, I do not hate my country. I love my country, and I want to see it succeed. It's where I come from, so let's just get that cleared out of the way. But there are 5 things that I think are absolutely hurting our country and making it worse, and I would...
You know, there was some people that hear this man say this stuff, and I'm just being real, they would help him pack his bags. No, and try to get him out the country.
I think he already out the country.
Oh, well, he said his country still, so he might still be out here.
Yeah, there's some people who...
But I'm just saying, like, they got some people really land of the free. Like, they really breathe and eat this soil. That. They will not let that fly. Like, but that's just how some people operate, and we know they out there, so...
Right.
Like to see us get better as a society, and like it or not, America is an important country in the whole global scheme of things. So let's all talk about these 5 things and tell me what you think. Number 1 thing I hate has to be the 2-party system. I believe that the 2-party system, only having 2 80-year-old dudes you can vote in, like this next election, which is going to be Trump and Biden, it's hurting America. It creates an us and them mentality. And how can a country that's so diverse, the most diverse country in the world, has so many different groups of people in it, only have 2 ideas to pick from?
I mean, you got to think about time, though, here. Like, when history was really going crazy and people was trying to win this part and fight for this land and do all that stuff, it was a divide and then conquer mentality that they had. They would split everybody apart, and then they would go after the weakest side first, and that's how they would slowly win. You know what I'm saying? That's just the mindset. So,
right.
But I understand the 2-party system, it is kind of like a divide thing to where people are going against each other, and it's like the whole world just split.
Yeah, I feel like our whole, like, the 2-party system, the electoral college, that's what I don't like. But I feel like we have other parties, but it's like if you don't want to vote with, like, the major parties and you vote for a party that's, let's say, independent, you can vote for them, but they don't get as much attention as, the 2 main parties. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think we would be way more less like us and them mentality if you had 5 political parties. A far right, a more center right, a center party, a more center left, and then a far left, and you would have 5 different parties right there. This would be great, and that's not even including the Green Party or independents. This would create a situation with less hostility and actually get more ideas in there. I also think it would create a situation where you'd have a bunch of different political parties that would have to work together, find a way to work together, and fix certain policies in the U.S. I think it would be better for government overall. But you got a problem in a situation where you got Democrats and Republicans. They don't want to give up their power. And if you even look at all the presidential elections over the years, besides the one where we had Ross Perot, if you're a president political candidate and you're not a Democrat and you're not a Republican, TV networks don't want you on. And it kind of feels like the last couple of years, the elections has all been about ratings, TV ratings, and not necessarily about what's best for the country. And I don't think there's one American out there that is so diehard Republican or so diehard Democrat that they don't want to have more political parties. It's something we got to do. It drives me nuts.
We're
The number
team
2 thing I
Demouchet.
hate about the United States is our news media. It is absolutely disgusting. It is a ratings-based news media. And the thing is, the media isn't honest with you. And before people start freaking out at me, all you got to do is look at who donates to the media. And you see that you got prescription drug companies, NRA. It's basically lobbyists. So this creates an incentive for the news media to not talk about certain stories, to push certain narratives. We don't have like a publicly funded news network. And when you take a look at this from when I look at Sweden, for example, yes, Sweden has many different types of news. I've seen far right news, left news. But if you're just watching the regular news, yes, there are biases in it. But I feel like that they are more fair when they talk about the news and less sensational. I don't feel like when I'm watching a report on television here in Sweden that they are so concerned with the ratings that they're making every single thing sensational. It doesn't mean that Sweden doesn't have these type of things where these news that's kind of like garbage news media. But in the US, it is just all about a click. It's kind of a consequence of the internet in a sense.
Yeah.
But that is one side of things. Number 2, when a crazy person goes in with a thing that goes boom, they're always showing that person's face because ratings. You look at Donald Trump. CNN's going to have Donald Trump on recently because of ratings, because they want to have the ratings. And they don't necessarily do what's best for the country either. All they care about is eyes, views, and it's capitalism, baby. I get it. But I think that that's not what the American people need. And even if you look at...
I think majority of Americans feel the same way about the news. You know, it even gets to the point where many of us don't even watch the news. We just go online for the report.
Yep.
I don't want anyone's opinion when it comes to news. I want the facts. I want the story. Tell a story as it's told. When there's certain things happening, it's told differently. Like the title of the story is different depending on the demographic of things.
Yeah.
They call... I just don't like the narratives that they put out.
I think it's I was thinking about what word I wanted to use, but I want to just overall say it's handicap. And I say that because, for one,
favor people.
You have to be bad. You have to be bad. Not saying you have to, but being bad is how the police get paid. Being sick is how the doctors get paid. And creating, like, having damaged things around your environment or community is how everyone else, you know, that is advertising that type of stuff gets paid. So once these things happen, the news have something to talk about. And again, depending upon the demographics is how the news push it out to certain media state locations and certain platforms and ratings. And like he was saying, all that stuff has a big play on it. So as long as something is happening, the news is going to have a job.
Right. And I mean, you know, we need the news to know what's going on, but just take out the opinions, take out the tagline, write the story as it's being told.
It's ratings, though. I feel like it's a scoreboard, though.
Yeah.
You got to think about all these news channels that we have, right?
Clickbait a lot.
A lot of them are all running up against each other in a sense, but they all still have the same message that they're putting out. Like if you think about it, there's a handful of newscasts that's going to say the same thing on every single news channel. You got your 6 o'clock, you got your 10 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? And they all going to say the same thing. But yeah, that's the news, man.
Yeah, I think we all feel the same way about
We don't
the
watch
news.
the news, y'all. We don't.
Nah,
we don't. We can't avoid it, really, though. Like,
read the report.
The way social media is set up these days, you can't even avoid not watching the news.
No, but I mean, the way social media is out there today, I feel like some pages on social media do a better job than the news at getting a story out.
I like how you said it. Tell it how as it's happening.
Right. Don't say, oh, the criminal was on the line. Like,
it's nah.
Like political commentary on these channels or debates, it just becomes a cesspool of getting that gotcha moment. Ooh, I said something and I got you, and then it's clippable and you're going to see it on TikTok or YouTube, and then I don't really feel like there's any real discussion or sharing of ideas. It's just talking points.
It's just talking points.
It's destroying political discussion and debate in America.
right.
The number 3 thing I hate about the U.S. after living in Sweden for so long has to be our complete and total lack of compassion. You know, I don't really know what happened because And I will say this, I still think Americans
we
are very,
have
very charitable, but I've changed my perspective. I used to think, wow, Americans are so charitable, we just donate, 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 until I realized half the stuff we're donating to is like medical bills when, you know, Jeff Bezos is rolling around in this $500 million yacht, that our priorities seem to be a little bit screwed up. It feels like, in particular, that something has happened over the last couple of years where we kind of look at each other with less compassion and we dehumanize each other. I guess it makes sense in this two-party system when Democrats are always calling the Republicans idiots, racist, these kind of names, and then you got the Republicans calling them names. You hear libtards, you hear all these different things. They're dehumanizing people that are transgender or LGBTQ, and this total lack of compassion of not looking at each other like they're humans and sitting down at a table and having discussion is destroying the country, destroying the politics, and creating, again, an us and them mentality. I think we would benefit so much more from...
When did this country not dehumanize people? Let's be real about it. when when did this country ever show compassion for everyone?
Big statement there. Big facts. Yeah.
Like, that's one that I don't.
I mean, we stand underneath a statement that says all for one and one for all.
Mm,
But, like, we really have a moment of realization that it's really not 100%.
right. When did we have justice for all?
Yeah.
When there's people who still look down on minorities, when did...
There's a lot of situations at hand here when you talk about this situation, and one of them is, like, only certain people are just as important as their dollar is to certain people who needs that investment. You know what I'm saying? Because he was talking about Jeff Bezos being on the yacht and stuff. Like,
Right.
some rich folk don't even worry about other people's problems. And let's be real about it. Unless they need your dollar to boost a rating, a stats, a invention they came out with. That's the only time. Other than that, when it comes to the people, compassion is absent.
Right. The only time I've ever seen compassion was after hurricanes.
Tragic
Like,
moments where people
tragic
have to build
moments.
back up everything and the environment has to run like its normal stage again.
Right. That's the only time I've ever seen people help people no matter the race. And even during that, like, let's talk about Hurricane Katrina, because that was a very tragic moment in our lives, you know, in our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's during that time, people were calling my people refugees in our own country. When did we have compassion for everybody?
Yeah, because they couldn't stay out there in New Orleans. They had to come down. And people was
They had
like,
to go
no. Some
all
people
over
was
the whole
like, no,
world.
we didn't want them. We don't want
Right,
to take
all
them
over
in.
the whole world. I mean, not whole world, but whole state.
Yeah.
States. The United States. So,
Yeah, that's a fact.
I don't know when we had compassion. Not in my lifetime.
That's a fact.
trying to understand each other and have compassion. You know, what I like about America, or love about America at this point, is that we have so many different people and that you can kind of do your own thing and you can make your own life for yourself. And people, for the most part, will let you do your thing. There are people out there that just want to exist. That's it. They just want to exist.
Yeah.
And then you have people saying they can't exist, or dehumanizing them, or purposely dead naming them for some cases. I just don't get it. To me, just let people be. Let people
Yes.
live. Like, religious freedom, go do it. You want to
Right.
go to a mosque? Do it. You want to go to a church? Go for it. You want to be gay? Go for it. You want to be transgender? Go for it. I do not care. And this total lack of compassion is really hurting America. And it's selfish and it's wrong. And personally, I
just think people got to be careful when they say stuff like this, though. Because if you be like, let's think small here. Let's think small. If an ant pile is over there in someone else's yard, and you say, if you want your ant pile to grow big as one, let it. But then the ant pile grows into your yard.
Oh no, that's
You know what I'm saying? Then you start looking for spray and start saying, my God, dang, they eating up all my fruits. Or they doing, you know what I'm saying? They damaging my yard and they putting all these big hills in. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to be careful with that statement. I understand.
Right,
Trust me, I do.
right.
I understand. But the statement is too broad for it to say that I don't know about that.
My problem is a lot of times when, this life is changing. A lot of times when people believe in a certain things, they want other people to believe in that. That's why I have a problem.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
If you want your empire to grow, let it grow in your yard. Don't spill over in my yard.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, don't spill over in my yard. Don't come knock to my door saying your child should wear pink. I see your boys. I see your boys always wearing these
the same
boy colors.
I
Let them
understand.
wear a certain thing. No, if you want to do it, do it. But when you start trying to tell us how to live our life,
yeah,
that's what we have a problem.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
On both sides. Maybe one side I see particularly more than others, but that's up for you to decide and not what I'm trying to do in this video. I'm just saying, man, if we could just try to walk a mile in others' shoes. I know that sounds hyperbolic or whatever, but seriously, if we could just try to understand each other more, I think we would be better as a society. And going off that lack of compassion.
Before we even get into this next one, there was I wrote a post on the timeline. I had something on my heart, so I was just, sharing on the community tab. I was like, it was something about peace. I can't really remember what I said. And someone came right underneath the comment, and they were talking about a personal story to them, and it's a person who has a different lifestyle from Dion and I. And I wrote back to the person. I was very kind. We're very loving people. We don't try to put our ideologies on people, but I feel like people think we do because we're a reaction channel and we're stating out our opinions on things.
No, we don't try to grow ant pile.
On y'all.
We don't try to put ant piles in your yard. We look over your fence and be like, nice day you're having, and keep it at that.
Nice,
but we ain't gonna be like, here, I want you to have something.
Right.
It's almost, we're gonna do
right.
that.
So a person, I wrote back to that original person, and then another person wrote to that person, and they were just being rude and ugly because the person had a different lifestyle. And I normally I snap back at people, but I didn't. I just blocked that person because on our channel, like, we want people of all cultures, races,
wherever you at,
whatever you are, however you live your life, as long as you're respectful and loving. Well, you don't have to be loving, but as long as you're respectful to us and others, we want you to be a part of our community. I had to block that person because although you may not agree with someone's lifestyle, that don't mean that you have to be ugly towards that person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
That makes sense. That's sad people do that, though.
Yeah, it is sad because just because you don't live that way doesn't mean that you have to
be mad at someone else or try to make them feel little.
Right.
Any of those things.
If you don't agree, you just don't agree.
If you're a bully, just say you're a bully.
But go over there.
The things that go boom. Number 4, I absolutely hate it. I absolutely hate that people have to live in fear in the United States because the NRA needs to lobby and politicians want to turn the other way. This needs to change. And if you don't think this needs to change because you need to have your little LARP going on, I mean, I feel like half of Americans are LARPing with their assault weapons. Like they're going to use it for in-home defense, which makes no sense. You don't want to be firing a high-capacity magazine and a high-capacity round.
It's going to be a big cleanup.
Baby! Listen. This is a controversial topic for people.
Yeah.
But listen, there is absolutely no reason. You know what? I ain't even going to speak on it. I think it speaks for itself. But what I am going to say is sad that we have to fear going to church, going to the store, going anywhere, library, anywhere.
Walmart. I love Walmart.
Child,
I had to break my voice a little bit because they be going crazy up there too for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Little Walmart go hard. They be doing their little thing.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta go look at the videos of the damage that does to a human body. There's absolutely no reason we need them. Period. And I'm a person who like going to the range. Why do I need to practice with that? Like, no.
Inside your home, especially if you're trying to protect your family. But this idea of doing nothing, this lack of compassion for others, that you just hope that it's not your kid, you know? You just hope it's not your kid. You just hope that it's not your loved one, and you just bury your head in the sand. That's been the U.S. strategy. Bury your head in the sand. Just hope that nobody you care about is affected, you know? But in my life, I can think of like 4 people that I know that have been affected by things that go boom. Some have been unalive. Some have been injured. And when it starts to happen to people that you know and care about, it starts to change your opinion. And that's where that lack of compassion comes in. People shouldn't have to live in fear. Kids should be able to go to school. Right. We can find a common ground. We can find something that makes common sense. I feel like there's so many people out there, they just want to win. They just want to win at all costs. Yeah. Instead of trying to find some common ground. And on this issue, we can't seem to do it, although the majority of Americans want change. I do believe change is coming on that one, but it's something that I absolutely hate about America. Number 5. The number 5 thing I hate about America is money in politics. I mean, if you're just thinking about it off the top of the head, like, what is it? Nancy Pelosi, probably the greatest stock trader in history. I'm sorry, her husband. Nothing shady about that, by the way. But all these politicians that, first of all, I don't believe that politicians should be allowed to own stock. I think they should have some type of mutual fund that they can buy into that's a collection of stocks that someone else manages and that they cannot buy individual stocks while they're in Congress. You shouldn't get into Congress for money to begin with. You should get into Congress as a civil duty. It shouldn't be something where you're a career politician. In my opinion, you should maybe be a politician for no longer than 10 years. It should be something that's passed on. The career politician thing doesn't work, in my opinion. And then number 2, the lobbyists, because so many career politicians, they get elected and then they want to just keep getting reelected, so they don't actually make change. They don't actually rock the boat or do things because they want to keep the status quo going. They don't really listen to their voters as much as they listen to those that are giving them money. So that means if the NRA is giving me millions of dollars, I'm probably not going to do something or vote against something that's going to go against the NRA. When the prescription drug companies are funding my political campaign, I'm probably going to look the other way when a couple of people get unalived because they were on pain medication. This is another thing that happens in the United States. The money in politics is what is destroying our country. We need politicians to stand up. It's crazy to me that we don't have more politicians standing up and going, okay, let's take this out. Does everybody agree? And then those that don't agree should get voted out. I don't think there's any American that thinks it's great that there's money in politics or that you have think tanks. You have billionaires spending money on both sides, mind you, Democrat and Republican, to keep us divided, to keep us fighting with each other, and suddenly they take more property. Suddenly something else happens. They get us to look the other way. The markets crash, they get us arguing with each other, they swoop up a little bit more. Suddenly it costs more money to buy a home. We're not stupid, guys. This money in politics thing needs to stop, because you cannot have a democracy when it doesn't actually work to serve the people. And we are seeing this time and time again. And it's not just in the United States. We're seeing this in other Western countries as well politically, but nowhere near to the same extent. But we are seeing some levels of the corruption, and we're seeing some levels of money in politics. But I personally believe that if this continues and continues to happen, you will lose your democracy. It'll crumble. It almost happened. And I believe that the Trump wave is nothing more than a result of the fact that the middle class has been getting screwed for years and years and years. They listened to his message. He got elected. And you saw the danger there of our democracy. So I think our democracy is at risk. And until we make these changes, we could slip into a dictatorship at any time. I do not believe it's going to happen. I believe that we're on the right track. I think that it's inevitable that change is happening just based on the amount of young people I've talked to, how I've seen young people respond to things that are happening in this country. Not in the country I'm in now because I'm in Sweden, but in the U.S. And again, just being out of the United States for so long has allowed me to see my country in a different light. So I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button. I apologize if I haven't been uploading so frequently.
All right, you guys. So that's that on the video. Wow, he had some great points. He did talk about some very tight discussions. I mean, something you're not gonna just normally hear about. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Political. So
very political. Yeah.
this one gonna ruffle a lot of feathers.
But let's get the chicken crowing, huh?
Yeah, but a lot of it was the hard truth.
It is, and we need more conversations about hard truths. I mean, and he did mention about the debates. It's not much debates, like especially when it comes to the news. They talk about a topic, but it's not debated upon because what are we doing to make sure it never happen again?
Right.
You know, so it's good to talk about it, but let's actually get into it.
Right, because if the leadership is fighting with each other, what are you expecting the people to do? We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you like to support the channel that way, as well as our reaction request form is in our description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.